Good. We're on the wrong side. Hey, you know what? You're officially in charge of names. I realize that you've done this, but you're officially in charge of names. uh, Good morning, everybody. I am JJ Skywalker, and that's Darth Deacon. And this is rumble.com/JJW, where every morning between 6:30 and 7:30 ish, we read the news and drink coffee and talk about culture, pop culture. I don't know, Joe Biden doing something weird, Hunter Biden and a hooker, who knows what? It could be anything. And we start our day. It's the best way today. But every morning, Deacon and I, we're your two dads, and so here we are. We're ready to start the day. This is going to be the best show ever. Somehow.
You think so?
I really don't.
I wouldn't get your hopes up.
How can we lower expectations and yet claim it's the best show ever at the same time?
I've never claimed that we put on a good show.
Well, I always claim it at the end, and then I mean the people that last all the way to the end, they
are bored people. They need hobbies.
Their dads rocking their babies at this. Like, my kid won't let me sleep, and I got nothing better than these two idiots on YouTube.
I think we need to start adding book reviews at the end so that we can recommend good books for these people to read instead of watching us.
Oh man.
I've always said that to people when they ask me, I listen to you on the radio. That was always my first response, when somebody sees
you don't
me.
like to read?
No. When they say, I listen to you on the radio, my go-to response has always been, you don't have anything else better to do? Is there nobody else to listen to on the radio than me? I'm the only thing you could find. I appreciate them listening, but I like to dog myself,
Yeah, I appreciate self-deprecating humor.
Yeah, it cracks me up. Dude sent me one of the coworkers sent me a line one day, and I forgot what it was. I think it was like he's about as handy as a back pocket on a t-shirt, and he thinks he thinks the sun comes up just to make him, or he thinks the sun comes up. Oh, what was it? I can't remember the other one. He thinks the sun comes up just to hear him crow, I think is what it was. And the dude was like all really apologetic. He was real apologetic to me. He was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for these to offend you. I'm like, no, these are great. I love ones that make fun of myself.
The only one I can think of is like, it's about as smart as a screen door in a submarine. That's one that I heard a lot when I was younger.
Yeah, I was asking all the coworkers to come up with old sayings and old lines so that I could take them and maybe use them as lines on the radio, as sweepers and stuff on the radio. And so I would get them to send me all this stuff, and I would go through them and be like, oh, that's good, or oh, I could change this, or I could use this. So I kind of use them as a brainstorming tool.
All right. Let's see. How do we do this? You know what? We always have to start with the heavy stuff.
Yeah, let's start with the nasty political crap if you've got any.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't really find any that was interesting. I mean, surprise, Joe Biden said stupid stuff. I mean, like, that wasn't even that interesting to me. But I did see this. Check this out. Pennsylvania state lawmakers tease a bill marking January 6th Day in schools.
Are you fucking serious?
They're gonna celebrate January 6th Day. It would I can't do anything about this dumb video.
That's all right.
January 6th Day in Pennsylvania, and it would honor the 5 police officers who died after their hours-long battle with more than 9,000 rioters. None of those police officers died because of the riot. Like, one had like a brain, something. It had nothing at all to do. They had like a stroke or something. Some of them committed suicide.
Oh, really? So, because I'm sitting here going, somebody died during the riot.
Yeah, only Ashley Babbitt was actually killed during the riot, and she was murdered by a cop. And Yeah, so it's honoring the 5 police officers who happened to die after the riot. Yeah,
What the
and they wanted
for real?
to call it yeah, for real. This is for real. They wanted to call it an insurrection,
I'm
and
listening to you. I'm gonna go get my coffee. I'm listening to you.
yeah, somebody was was opposed to using the language insurrection. There has not been one single charge against any of the people that were charged for January 6th stuff. Not one single person has been charged with insurrection. So on the committee, considering the bill, we're not using that term. So we have a bill celebrating or honoring Insurrection Day when there are, in fact, zero actual insurrectionists. So
We live in clown world,
Pennsylvania,
JJ.
yeah, this is a Pennsylvania bill, Jeremy, not a congressional bill. So this would only be it'll only be 1/6 day in Pennsylvania. So
Well, I don't live in Pennsylvania.
yeah, right. Like this is probably the
We
least
celebrate
atrocious thing.
we celebrate holidays here that are national holidays that I don't recognize at all. Some of them may have just came and gone that I
I
do
didn't
not
even notice. I
celebrate.
didn't take a day off.
I don't celebrate holidays. This is the first radio station I've ever worked at where I get Christmas Day off. This is
Oh
the
yeah.
first radio station I've ever worked at where I don't have to work on Christmas Day. And you know why? Technology. I would still have to work on Christmas Day if it wasn't for technology. What are you reading?
Oh, the chat. They're talking to each other. They're not responding to us. It's almost like we're not here.
Hell.
Mr. E says, surprise, Kevin McCarthy put idiots on key committees in return for votes. Well, yeah, that's how you get votes. That's how. That's exactly what the entire 4 days or 3 days of of uh, of debate was about. Yeah, they knew that they had the middle ground, and without them, he couldn't be speaker. So he had to cave. He had to give him a bunch of stuff. I believe there was a story about Green and Bobert getting pretty juicy committee assignments.
Yeah.
Did you just make a farty sound?
Sorry, I thought I make noises.
Oh,
All right. I use my microphone off so you
let's
can
see what.
hear me saying this stuff.
Does anybody care what assignments they got? The only thing that matters is the few committees that are going to be issuing subpoenas for administrators in the Biden administration to come have to testify before Congress. That's the only thing that's going to happen for the next 2 years. There's not going to be any legislation that makes it through anywhere. The only thing that happens is that committees are going to drag the members of the administration over the coals and question them about everything, charge them with social media, engineering, pressuring social media or working with social media to censor Americans. They're gonna. I mean, that's the only thing that's gonna happen. That's it. So, yeah, I don't know. Deacon, do you know anything about Biden and his secret documents? Oh, hey, did you hear this?
I do.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
No. You seem like you were going to say something.
No, go ahead.
All right, so Joe Biden's secret documents. They found some in his Corvette in his garage, right, or in a garage. You know about that? Well, there was also a house that he was renting to his son in Delaware. He was renting one of his houses to his son in Delaware, and he was renting this house to his son at $50,000 a month for 10 months, which adds up to about $500,000 in rent. Have you ever rented a house for $50,000 a month?
What kind of question is that?
So it kind of looks like Hunter Biden paid his dad $500,000, which might have been like 10% of some sort of a big deal, and laundered it through rents payments. So while while Biden was vice president, his son, he took his son over to China on the jet, and there was all of these deals with China. There were deals with Burisma. There are emails about 10% for the big guy or whatever, and there's plenty of mounting evidence that Hunter Biden used his father's name to trade overseas, or Joe Biden used his son as a proxy to do deals, and he couldn't just be gifted that cash while he was sitting as vice president back in 20 whatever 16, so 2012, whenever it was. No, this is 20, I think it was 2018 whenever this deal went down. So instead of paying his father, just gifting him cash, it looks like he paid him 10 times the running rate in Delaware to rent a house for 10 months in order to put that income into Joe Biden's accounts under rents payments, which would have, I think, a lower tax rate than gifting cash.
So yeah. The difference, though, between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, though, is
yes, yeah.
I'm reading this from a very important person's tweet. Okay, tweeted 2 days ago.
Good.
Difference between Joe Biden and Donald Trump is Joe Biden is a decent, law-abiding person, and Donald Trump is a pathologically lying criminal. That was tweeted 2 days ago by Rob Reiner. That old crazy son of a bitch has lost his fucking mind.
It is crazy.
I mean, if people complained about Donald Trump having access to a Twitter account as somebody that shouldn't be tweeting, Rob Reiner, Ron Perlman are two
oh my God, Ron Perlman
that do not need to be able to speak in public. And there was another one that I just come to mind that flew out of my head real quick, and I can't remember who it is. But Rob Reiner and Ron Perlman, I could give two shits if they disappeared right now, and we never heard from them or ever heard their names.
I've never seen Rob Reiner say anything of value. Now, I'm sure he produces movies, right? But I've never seen him say. Now, Ron Perlman is
not The Stand. Stand By Me. He made Stand By Me. And what else? He did a bunch of movies in the 80s that we would consider that
pop culture kind of.
Yeah, that was a pop
culture movies. Yeah.
I
don't Rob Reiner's name is not attached to anything that I care about or love. Now, Ron Perlman,
Rob Reiner. Okay, The Bucket List. I'm going through a bunch of these.
Okay.
A Few Good Men. The American President was good. Remember in 1995 with that was a good one.
Who's in that? Who is in that? Is that Bill Pullman?
Not Michael Douglas. That wasn't the Bill Pullman one. That was the Michael Douglas one. And When Harry Met Sally, The Princess Bride. Okay, The Princess Bride. Stand By Me.
Did he direct The Princess Bride? He
directed The Princess Bride, but The Princess Bride, he didn't write the story. The Princess Bride's a freaking novel.
That's true. It's an adaptation.
Stand By Me is a book by Stephen King. Spinal Tap was the brainchild of what's his name? Rob Reiner directed Spinal Tap, but Spinal Tap was really Christopher Guest. It's a Christopher Guest movie. Michael McKean and Harry Shearer. Christopher Guest is the genius behind all of those movies. Rob Reiner.
It's kind of like, from what you're saying, it's kind of like he's a fill-in director for major motion pictures.
He just made he got his name from The Princess Bride. Wasn't even that big of a movie back then, and neither was Spinal Tap.
It became like a cult classic.
Yeah, Princess Bride and Spinal Tap both became a cult classic. Stand By Me was kind of a big movie, but the only reason Stand By Me got to be a big movie is because about 4, 5, 6, 7 years after that movie was filmed, River Phoenix got killed outside of the Viper Room. Remember?
Right.
And then Corey Feldman there went on to become pretty big, or Corey Haim, whichever one it is, and then. Who's the other one? Jerry, what's his name? Jerry O'Connell is in there. And what's his name? Will, who went on to become on Star Trek. What's his name? So that was kind of a big movie. Will Wheaton. And then When Harry Met Sally. And Harry Met Sally was the biggest movie out of all those. And then a few years later, you had A Few Good Men. And then after that, he didn't have shit. You know, the bucket
Yeah.
list.
He hasn't done anything
Done
in
anything.
decades.
Just bitch
Anyway,
about
I
Republican.
just don't care about anything. I see people kind of like talk about Rob Reiner saying crazy stuff all the time, and I'm like, I just like, so what? Who cares what he says
And if
now?
folks want
But
to, wait a minute,
Ron Perlman matters though
let me
to
say
me.
this though. If folks want to say, well, what have you done, Andy? You know, blah 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 blah. Right? He's done more than you. Well, you know,
You're on it.
he has done. Yes, he has done more than me. And I've got my own platform that I bitch about Rob Reiner. So if Rob Reiner wants to
Yeah,
get on Twitter and bitch
yeah,
about me, he can.
yeah.
I'm not stopping him from getting on Twitter and bitching about me and calling me stupid. Because I think
Rob
Rob
Reiner's a
Reiner's,
crazy piece of shit.
yeah. So if he wants to call our show a crazy piece of shit, stupid
It's
show,
fine.
more than
I
welcome.
would, you know what? I would really love it if Rob Reiner would be like,
I
that stupid piece of shit show on rumble.com
I
JJW.
dare Rob Reiner to make fun of our show.
You don't have the balls, Rob
You ain't got
Reiner.
balls, chopper, balls. You get that joke? Chopper, sick
Uh,
balls. You get that from Stand By Me? Come on, people. You're getting my jokes here. I'm tossing them out. You got to swing. You
okay.
got to swing.
So you talk about Rob Reiner, but now talk about Ron Perlman because Ron Perlman's made stuff that matters, and he's
No,
also
he hasn't.
crazy. Yes, he
He
has.
hasn't made anything that matters. He's
He
got a
has.
crazy cat looking weird face that people want to put him in
Yeah.
stuff because he got
Oh my
famous.
God! Come
He
on! I
was a
watched Beauty
cat.
and the Beast
He was a
during the
giant
1990s.
cat. Yeah, that's the only reason he got famous is because like this guy looks like a cat. Let's put some little bit of
Yeah.
makeup on him and make him the Beast. And that's the only reason he got famous. And then he did Hellboy, and it wasn't
Yeah.
that he did a great Hellboy. It was that the makeup artists did a great Hellboy. Okay, you could do a
Yeah.
great makeup artist to any actor, and they could portray Hellboy pretty damn good. Ron
Well,
Perlman,
okay.
Ron Perlman is disgusting. And if people don't know what
Yeah,
I mean, and
he's
they're
a
like, "What do
creepy
you
dude.
mean Ron Perlman is disgusting?" Just go read some of his public things that he says. Anything that he's go to his Twitter account and just scroll down, and you will
Yeah.
start to upchuck
Or
in your mouth.
I think he has an Instagram where he posts like little videos sometimes. It's pretty vile. I've heard him
And
say
it's
some
not
pretty
that
awful,
I'm
vile
not
things.
being homophobic whatsoever. If a straight person
He's
says
gay.
this
I had
stuff,
no idea.
yes, he's as queer as a basketball helmet.
I had no idea, really.
If a straight person were to say this stuff, I would be saying the exact same thing about a straight person. It's vile and
Hmm.
disgusting. So I'm not being homophobic
Well, I
whatsoever.
learned something today. I really didn't know that.
I thought he was
There's a
gay.
movie. Oh, maybe he is.
From
Who
everything
knows?
that he said. If
I mean,
you've never read any of his stuff, all you've got to do is read a little bit, and you'll be like, "Holy shit, he's gay!" Because he says the most vile stuff. Like I thought I was twisted. He's twisted. Like we shouldn't be putting
is
him up on a
Ron
platter at all.
Pearl? Is Ron Perlman dead? No, 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 no. Google. No, is he gay? Online polls shows that 54% think he might be
What, dead?
gay.
Read his stuff.
Mm, nah, I'm good. I'm good. There's a movie he did called Enemy at the Gates. Good movie. It has oh, what's
Tom Cruise.
who is in Enemy at the Gates? No, it's not
Tom
Tom
Cruise.
Cruise. Not Tom Cruise is not in every movie. He's just in a lot of them that are
He's
good.
the best actor ever. I don't know why he's not in every movie.
Jude Law, Ed Harris, Joseph Fiennes, and Bob Hoskins. Wow, and Rachel Weisz, all in this movie called Enemy at the Gates. Great movie.
I was
Bob
reading
Hoskins,
something with
Roger Rabbit.
who Jude Law. What was I reading this morning with Jude Law? Oh, I was reading an article this morning. It was like Tom Hanks has recently come out and said nobody ever talks about my comic book movie. And I was like, oh, that's right. Tom Hanks was in Road to Perdition. Do you remember that movie?
Oh yes, that
It
was
had
a bit of
Jude
a
Law
bummer of a
and
movie.
Daniel Craig. It
Yeah, but
wasn't that great of a movie, but the
well,
comic book was really good. I read the
you
comic.
would have to know that it was a comic book because it was really
Yeah, you
because the
would know it
movie
was
was as an adaptation of a story, but the story was like 1920s, like
it's like a gangster
gangster
running
type flick, right?
from like he's trying to get his family away. What was it?
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that there was a Tommy guns and killing. That's what I remember. And it
Yeah,
was kind of, wasn't it kind of? Maybe I'm remembering it as black and white, or maybe really muted colors.
I
You
think
know,
it
it didn't seem
was.
very colorful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it's been a minute. Let's talk about this. Maybe this is interesting. Maybe it's not. I don't know. So, do you know that Mandalorian season 3 is coming, Deacon?
Yeah, I heard that. Yes.
And I'm sure you're very excited about it.
I like
And
Mandalorian.
yeah, I mean it's good. What did you think about this, about the Luke thing at the end of season 2?
Refresh my memory.
At the end of season 2 of Mandalorian, there is a scene where let's see, it's Bo-Katan and Mando and the child. They're all, I don't know, like on a station or something, and uh, I think who's the bad guy? I think he had the dark saber. You know, maybe the bad guy had the dark saber. Don't really remember. And then like a shuttle docks on the ship they're in, and then it cuts through like all of these droids. It's a hooded figure, cuts through all of these droids or bad guys, and then it arrives to take the child. And it turns out that it's in the reveal, it's Luke Skywalker. It's Luke Skywalker 5 years after Return of the Jedi.
Why do I not remember that scene?
Really?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I don't
All right,
remember.
maybe we'll refresh your memory. So when I first saw that scene, uh, yeah, I'm gonna have to. Okay, we'll have to visit that in a second. So,
No,
but
I
before
got
that, we'll just talk the show.
it.
You can look at, you can pull it up. Mandalorian actor Carl Weathers promotes upcoming season 3 by claiming it is part of the Star Wars multiverse. Uh, are somebody's wires crossed or what's going on? Why are we calling it the Star Wars multiverse? Isn't that a Marvel thing?
No, I think it was Kathleen Kennedy when they all took over, when Disney took over, they had to basically say, "Hey, all this stuff that all you people we've done with Star Wars for the past 30 years, yeah, we're dumping that. We're calling that Legends now, and we're going to write our
Right.
own story." So that's why it pissed off all these Star Wars fans, is because we had written and we had experienced our own, story, and Disney didn't
Yeah.
like it. So Disney basically said, "Okay, that's all Legends, and now here's the real story." Because what's his name? Han Solo and Leia had 3 children. They didn't just have one, they had 3 children, okay?
Jason was one of them.
Jason, Jada, and Ben?
Yeah, Ben, I think. That sounds right.
I don't remember the third one now. One of them was saved by Chewbacca. Chewbacca ends up dying, saving one of them's life, all right?
Oh
Saving
yeah.
the life of Han Solo. Remember, he dies in one of the books, and
Yeah.
big thing.
I think
Mar
it's like
Mara Jade
as
was
the ship was
Mar
leaving the planet.
yeah. Mara Jade was an assassin that was sent to kill Luke Skywalker. They ended up falling in love and getting married, and
Yes.
there's a whole big story with the using Vogue that comes through, those aliens from outside the galaxy that
Oh
have
my
the
god,
have the
I haven't
weapons.
thought about them in a long, long
Yeah, they
time.
had the weapons and the armor and the spaceships that were all
Yeah.
living creatures as well. They were
Yeah.
like parasitic,
Is
symbiotic
that all
creatures.
stuff from the Heir to the Empire
And it was
trilogy
all
by
that kind of
by Zahn?
yeah, I don't know in what trilogy or whatnot it was in, but all that stuff was listed as legends. And they're now telling new stories with this crap, which pissed off a bunch of Star Wars people. But I think that's what they're meaning by the Star Wars multiverse, is that we still have all this stuff. And
But
God
this
bless Dave Filoni, because after they done that, Dave Filoni, a lot of people might not know this. Star Wars fans do know this, but Dave Filoni, when he was creating the Clone Wars cartoon, you wouldn't know this because you didn't watch Clone Wars. But during the Clone Wars, they did this. They took away all this stuff from Legends. So in the
right.
Clone Wars was a Disney produced thing. So Dave, during the Clone Wars, made sure that he had he had them mention something, one line about the Sith holocrons. bam, all of a sudden, Sith holocrons are back in the freaking universe. He had
Okay.
he had Yoda find the force projection of Darth Bane, I think is who it was. Bam, Darth Bane back in the universe.
So
So
he's dripping it back in.
he's dripping it back in with certain things, and they're
Yeah.
having to come back in with certain things. So God bless Dave Filoni if you're a Star Wars fan, man.
Yeah.
he's
That's good.
keeping us alive with all
So
the things. You know, they even put what's his name, Thrawn, in those cartoons. You know, so they brought
yes.
him
And
in
so
those cartoons.
so I don't know if it's happening or not, but I believe that Thrawn may be in season 3 of Mandalorian.
Probably. Oh,
And
really? It would
yes.
be nice to see a lot.
Like not maybe a cameo and they may do it. They may use him more in the Ahsoka series, but I think they might drop a cameo of Thrawn, or maybe have a couple of scenes and do an introduction thing. Okay, so
I'd
so
like to
here,
see this. You know,
so
when
first
his
of all,
face.
I just want to pull on this thread a little bit, because this is not like an executive at Disney. This is not like a writer or creator. This is Carl Weathers. He's an actor, sure, and he's involved in the show, sure, but I don't just imagine that Carl Weathers sits at home on the weekend reading about like Star Wars and flipping through Star Wars forums and
You
being
don't think
like
he
Star
reads a
Wars.
Star Wars encyclopedia like me?
I don't know about that. So for him now, he's retweeting the Mandalorian post of a poster with, you know, Grogu and Mando, and he says, "Come on, y'all! The Mandalorian poster's too cool. Love being part of the Star Wars multiverse." March 1st, 2023, baby. Grief Karga, which I think that's his character, and
Yeah.
B Peace. I don't know. And I'm sure that Disney PR handed him hashtags or something to work with, right? So, like, while I don't think that he kind of came up this term on his own necessarily, I also
No, I
don't.
think if he didn't get that term
Organic.
from
I'm saying it's not organic.
if it didn't come
What's
organic,
up?
if somebody didn't feed him that line to say or came up with it on his own,
Yeah.
he came up with that from everything that he is an older man, and that is a word
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
that has a word that has been in our society very prevalent for about 20 years now. The multiverse. We're talking about something completely different, but
Yeah.
he's picked up on that word and he's parroting it back. People do that all
Yeah.
the
Okay.
time.
So do you think that some like wires are crossed in an old man brain, which
Yes,
totally is
yes.
fine?
He
Okay,
just
that
used
could be
that
happening.
word. He just this is one of those things where we don't need to spend 45 minutes dissecting one word like most people do. Right?
Can you say good morning to Dr. Mad Studio, but in the King's English?
No. Good morning, Dr. Mad Studio. But
no, come on, the King's English. You can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. You can do it.
I will.
You got
I've
the
got to
hat on and
practice.
everything.
I've got to
Put the
practice
hat
my
on.
accents.
If I had,
I would have to talk to my friend my friend John Andrew. My friend,
yeah.
he was my friend. Okay, so I met this guy playing Battlefield 3 many years ago online, and I met him because he slaughtered me and my friend over and over again, and we finally got put on his team, on his squad, and we started talking to him, and we became friends with this man, and he is still my friend to this day. He was one of the best headshot guys in the world on Battlefield 3. You could go to the website, and he was number 3 in the world on headshot. So he's fun to play with because we always won, but he was a hoot. And come to find out, his first and middle name were my first and middle name. Only our surnames were different. So I would call him John Andrew, and he would call me John Andrew, and he was my buddy. So, and he had a thick British accent. He was from Coventry, England, and he was fun. I would ask him all kinds of questions. He would give me English slang words that I didn't know. I'd be like, "What does this mean?" He'd be like, "Oh, that's blah blah blah." Like, "Oh, that's cool."
The thing I think is funniest about I don't know about funny, but like they have these turns of phrase for that you, and I can't even really name any, but like you hear them talk about use these turns of phrase in their vernacular, and you're like, I don't even. How does that? That doesn't make any sense.
Some of the words that they have in different languages we need words in English that are like those words. Like Germany has
Yeah.
a word for people that when you feel like you've had enough company, you feel like the people that's been to your house has been there long enough. There's a word for
Yeah.
that. That you're
Oh,
like, okay,
really?
I'm feeling Bob. I'm feeling visited enough. You can go now. I'm like,
I'm
I need to
feeling
finish
like
the word.
y'all need to get the F out of
Mm,
here.
got back.
I got to go watch my stories. All right. So I don't know about this Mandalorian thing. Okay. So obviously, the one thing it could be, right, is you have the trajectory of the original trilogy and then carried on by the prequel trilogy. And then you had the Disney Star Wars movies that kind of seem to deviate in terms of character and plot. And basically are big old flops that they'll never revisit again, right? They're like, there's no intention for Disney to like go back and visit Ray
I'm here.
again, or any of the characters from the new trilogy per se. So could the multiverse thing be Disney signaling like, yeah, we did that new trilogy, but like multiverse, we're going to go back and pick up characters from the original trilogy that people actually like that are still alive. So Luke
Maybe,
Skywalker
and that's
and
fine.
Ahsoka.
And that's fine. I
Maybe
really don't. I don't
do you
want.
think
Go ahead.
well, is there a downside for Disney to slyly trash can the new trilogy and just start over with stuff that people like and just keep
A
carrying on the
downside? No,
originals?
nobody liked the new trilogy. Nobody liked those
Right.
movies. But I don't want to you don't want to freaking beat a dead horse. I don't want a
Right.
show about Luke Skywalker's troubles after he, killed his dad and killed the emperor. I don't care. I don't want any more stories about Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Han Solo, Chewbacca. I don't want any more stories about them. We have
Oh yeah.
all the stories we have, and what else can you tell? Any other story? Just take this into consideration. This one point. Any other story you tell about these people is going to diminish the stories that you have already told about them. The stories that you have told about them are grandiose. And if you keep telling the stories about them and keep telling stories, you're watering shit down. And this is not as grand anymore.
Right.
So,
That's true.
so
But
that's why I loved Takiti Watiti Katiki
Taika Waititi.
when he came out and they were like, we're going to let him do some Star Wars stuff. And he was like, hey, one of the first things he said was, hey, there's not just space wizards and evil evil governments that are there's other things that go on in the galaxy. And we're going to tell those stories. And I was like, hallelujah, hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. I don't want a stormtrooper. I don't want a magical, mystical wizard with a laser knife. I don't want those anymore. I want a different story. That's why The Mandalorian was good. It was different.
Oh, that's
You
true.
can tell a whole story about the Mandalorian culture with Bo-Katan and all of them. You can tell a whole story. The Mandalorian culture is so interesting. And it has very little to do with space wizards.
That's true. That's true.
I don't care
I
about the Skywalker
so
family anymore. I don't want
okay,
any
so
more of those
the
stories.
only thing that I'm still like and I'm pretty much with you because I had my Luke Skywalker. I've always had my Luke Skywalker, and
They
I really
burn us.
didn't like the new one. Yeah,
They burn us. You made us love the guy, and then you made us hate the whole damn story.
yeah,
You
right.
burn us. I'm
Okay,
done with it.
but I still have, and it's because I read these books 25 years ago. I still have a little bit of like hope of like Luke and Mara Jade and that kind of like tense relationship. And she was such a badass. And
Now,
like,
if they did that with a story, if they were like, we've got a 2-season Luke Skywalker series that we're going to put on
yeah,
Disney Plus, and then in the first couple of episodes, you've got this woman assassin and they call her Mara or something, I might be interested in that. Might be.
but
Only if
here's
it
what
says Dave Filoni in that freaking
yeah, Dave Filoni. Uh,
somewhere.
I wanted, okay, so let's just play cast it for a second. I don't want a CGI Luke. I think the Uncanny Valley Luke Skywalker, it looks creepy. I don't like that. I want
Oh, you're going to
Sebastian
get it.
Stan Sebastian Stan to play Luke Skywalker. Have you ever seen Sebastian Stan, Luke Skywalker?
No, I
I'm
know
gonna
who
pull it up so you
Sebastian
can see him.
Stan is, but
Yeah, he's the Winter Soldier dude, right?
yeah.
Now, who would you cast as the redhead Mara Jade? And don't give me a fake redhead. It's got to be real. And she'd have to be like 30 or so.
Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise should play Mara Jade.
Tom Cruise could do it.
Fuck yeah, he could. He can do anything.
I think I'm gonna get on. The AI drawing thing later today and get Tom Cruise as Mara Jade. Okay, so on the left you have Sebastian Stan. On the right, Mark Hamill in his youth. And here in this, look at this poster.
Holy crap!
No kidding. Come on.
Go back up. Go back up.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Holy crap!
It's
He
so
does
close.
look like a Luke when he was younger.
Oh my god!
Look at their facial structure. Their facial structure goes down. I mean, the way that their chin goes down,
Yeah.
their noses and their nose openings are very similar.
Yeah,
Their
they got that
kind of
harp mouth or whatever.
The underneath, their bottom lip is very similar. The top lip's kind of similar. Their eyebrows, not so much. That's not a big deal. Eyes, not so much. But that face, that bottom part of that face is definitely looks like him, man.
You get a couple episodes in as Sebastian Stan as Luke Skywalker, and like I think it can like
of makeup
imprint. Yeah,
that would be that's a good. Wow, I'm impressed with that.
Yeah, and then here's a mock-up trailer of like what it could look like. Oh my god, it could be so good.
Yeah, that does look good. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So I would be down for that, but I don't know. But that I would want to see. Then aside from that, I'm pretty much with you. Like, can do something else. I liked the fact that that Mandalorian dealt a lot more with like humans, rather than like a bunch of alien things.
Did?
Yeah.
Why?
Like because I like it when the aliens are puppets. You know what I was thinking about? I mean, side rail for a second. I don't know if we talked about it on the show. Later this year, Gremlins 3 is coming out, right?
Right.
And I was like, that is so fun. I'm going to be excited about that. And then it occurred to me, what if they do the Gremlins as CGI?
Oh yeah.
And then my wife was like, they're going to do that. And I was like, no, I don't want that. I only want puppet Gremlins. No. I only want physical, practical puppet Gremlins.
No.
So I am now back out against Gremlins 3 unless I see evidence that it's not CGI.
It'll be CGI.
I don't want it. I don't want that.
Well.
Okay. All right. So let's see. What else did I have? I had something else here. Did I have something else here? I didn't expect us to get to Ron Perlman is gay.
Yeah,
that was not anticipated.
That in my Google bar.
What else do we got? We got 20 minutes left. I don't really have a whole lot. I feel like there was something else I was going to mention.
Give my book report on The Tale of Two Cities if you want me to. I've got it right over here.
I can give my report on The Tale of Two Kitties, which is a Dogman book.
Oh, that's
Dogman.
Yeah. You had a D&D Beyond post, but I'm so sick of
talking
about D&D Beyond.
Well, there's Walking Back and there is Running Backwards. And Wizards of the Coast is running backwards.
Have they? I mean, they did this update. Unless this is something different that you've got here. I mean, they did an update 5 days ago. Yeah, it's not.
Check this out.
Yeah.
You're saying 5?
This is, what you've got is 5 days ago. And I read this when it came out 5 days ago. And it sounds good and there's a lot of fluff, but it's easily dissectable by the players.
So maybe I'm wrong, but this says that their early drafts included some provisions and they were like, whoops, our bad.
Bullshit.
And look at this pandering. However, it's clear from the reaction that we rolled a 1.
Mm-hmm.
That's pandering right there.
And then
The
go
next,
down. They also say they also end up saying we're all winners. We're all winners here. No, we're not. You've destroyed a game that we all love because of your fucking greediness, and then you lost a shitload of money, and you've empowered your competition beyond anything that your competition could have ever fucking hoped for, ever. Your
I mean,
competition, when they prayed at night that something would happen to D&D so that they could get all their fucking prayers were answered. Do you not realize this? This was a miracle for them. This was a miracle for these small-time gaming companies that had opened up, because you have screwed over your players so hard they don't even want to play your game anymore. Me, ain't affecting me. But
they're gonna have to. They can't just reset to what they thought was the status quo. You've actually got to go backwards a little bit now, because you've already lost. You've lost a lot of goodwill with your fans or with your players.
Man, these players, they're not. I don't know how to label them, man. The players for D&D are different today than they were when I am. There's all these different.
Back in my day,
I know I hate to say that, but there's several different types of D&D players, and us old men are a type of D&D player, because we started one way, and it's hard for us to accept the change, but it's also we're one of these people that y'all are going to start charging me to do this and do this. It don't affect me because I've already bought the book. And if I don't like the rule, I'm going to invent my own rule. And I don't need your book.
right?
And now I've got the internet. So if I need to know what the freaking rule is, I can find it somewhere. I've just your book that you're selling me is just convenient anymore, because I can find all of that information on the internet for free, because I do it every day.
Yeah.
I don't pay for D&D, but yet, JJ, I'm going to show you here. I have, hang on, it's loading. I have, let me see. Can you see?
Yeah, I can see
every single Dungeons and Dragons book they make.
Right.
Every single one of them. Ask me how much I paid for
them. How much did you pay for those?
A lot. So much money. So much. I can't remember.
It's not as good as the real book, though, right? The real book, you turn the page.
I agree with that. I'm an old person. I want the real book. I've looked at buying a hardback copy of this book. These fucking books are like $50 and $60 now. They used to be like $20, $30 at the max. Pay $30 for a player's handbook. You're paying like $60 now for these freaking books. And these books are chock full of crap. It's like the same information that's just been rehashed, and updated that I'm paying for again. I carried that book around my whole life, man. You saw my little geeky ass in high school. I was walking around carrying my Dungeons and Dragons books. I had a binder with all my papers in it, and
that's cool. Really,
I was.
That's cool, because it's like, I'm interested in this, and I really don't. It doesn't even. It's not that I don't care what other people think. It doesn't even occur to me to even think about anybody else thinking anything other than this is cool because there's dragons and monsters, and I'm, and you were learning it and figuring it out, and telling your own stuff. So I mean, I think that's cool.
All right.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. So
yeah, you can keep doing what you're saying, but
yeah. Well, this post from 5 days ago walked back, and they said that it was a draft and it shouldn't have gone out, and the next version will not have a royalty structure. It won't have a license back. The license back is apparently the thing that would allow them to steal your stuff.
And they said that in that thing, if you read down, they said, we never thought that never crossed our mind, I think is what the Senate said about stealing your ideas. That never crossed our mind. Then why did you put it in there if it never crossed your mind? Why did you put it in there? Because that is specifically what that was for. That was for JJ has created a really freaking cool. There are some really cool homebrewed things that have been made for D&D that almost everybody uses in their game now. You know, some really
Right.
cool things that aren't in the books that there have been homebrewed that people are like, yeah, I'll use this. Oh my
So, like, under license back, if I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna create a creature called, like, a harpy mermaid,"
whatever.
and
Right.
then yeah,
And
right,
it
a harpy
becomes
mermaid. I make it up,
and
and then
they
they get wind of it. They can be like, "Harpy mermaid,
man,
it's in
that's
our book
pretty
now."
awesome. We could use this in here. We're going to take this idea because they use this under our license. We can now. And then you open up the next book, and then there's your shit in that book that you made that everybody else knows you made because they've seen you make it over the years and they've been
Right.
using it. And now
Yeah.
it's in a book that they're making money on, and you're not getting a cut off of it because that was your idea, you know? And that's what that was. And everybody was like, oh my God, what the hell?
So, Jeremy says the OGL they sent out wasn't an early draft. You don't send a draft with a legally binding contract, and you don't make Kickstarter negotiate royalties over a draft.
The
Sounds like
problem
he's pretty
is
right about that.
the original open gaming license has a clause in it, and you would have to read this clause because I can't recite it verbatim, but it
Yeah.
basically says if any other open gaming license comes and they revise this one, it doesn't matter because you can always refer to this one, and this version is always valid. This version can never be, you can update it and they can go
Right.
off this one, but your stuff can always, you would have to read it, but the way that they worded it was that that version of the open gaming license can never be done away with, and you can always file your
Right.
stuff under that version.
So,
And they're trying to
if you
do away
make
with
content to publish it, you would only need to specifically cite, like, this is published under OGL
1 point whatever,
1.0.
1.0, whatever
Yeah.
they call it, right. And
Yeah.
that's what one of these clauses was, that they could change this and do this and whatnot, but the original clause in there said that it doesn't matter what they say, you can always go back and say this, and it will supersede all of
Maybe
the
there's
rules.
an emerging market for lawyers that specifically serve people that kind of want to get started playing Dungeons and Dragons. Never got started before, and before I do get started, I need to seek a law firm to get some advice so that I can know
Well,
whether
this
or
is
not I can
just the
play this
same
game.
thing that happened. Well, I mean, this same thing would have happened with Star Wars if George Lucas wouldn't have had the foresight to say, I want the rights to all of this stuff. I want the rights to all of this stuff, and
Dude,
I
he
want
outsmarted the entire
whole
market.
freaking yeah. George was like, when in 1976, 77, he was like, I want the rights to this. Y'all can have everything else. And they were like, okay, shit, give the dude the rights. We don't want that shit. And look what he did. Look what he did with it.
Right.
And so they've seen Hasbro saw that WotC was making up 70% of their freaking budget, and they freaked out. And they tried to milk it for as much as they could, and they're pissing off their freaking player base.
Right.
But once again, as a longtime Dungeons and Dragons player, you don't have to follow any of those rules. And there are a multitude of different tabletop role-playing games besides Dungeons and Dragons whose rules are very similar. It's not a complicated process to relearn some new rules that if you don't want to spend your money with them, but you don't have to spend your money anywhere. You can get all of the stuff online for free and in your brain, and you can always message me. I will be glad to help you if you are a
So
dungeon master or a player that's wanting to get started. I will give you tips. I've done this for over 30 years. I love doing this stuff.
this is from last year, from April of 2020. Oh, from 2 years ago, April 2021, but it's probably not far off. What are the most popular tabletop RPGs in 2021?
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah. So the search results on on Google, 500,000 a D&D versus 90,000 Shadowrun, and
See,
then
I didn't know Shadowrun. I would put Pathfinder way up there ahead of Shadowrun.
Really?
And then,
Okay.
yeah, Vampire the Masquerade, I would have put way up there as well.
Really? That's
Yeah,
still a
Vamp
thing? I remember
oh,
seeing that in the comic shop like 30 years ago.
it's, I think it's not as big as it once was.
Look how low Warhammer is.
Warhammer's dropped off quite a bit from what I understand. The only
Now this
people
is
that
just
play
certain these are
Warhammer anymore are the people that have invested a lot of money in it, you know?
this is search results, but down here there is roll 20 ORR report percent of games played. So I guess roll 20 is maybe some sort of a tool or organization. About about half played Dungeons D&D 5, and then there's a bunch of games that are otherwise uncategorized. Call of Cthulhu, there's your Pathfinder, plays about 3% of the population, and a different version of Pathfinder. There's Warhammer, about 1%, and D&D 3.5 still makes up like 1%. So uh, by genre, it's mostly medieval. Anyway,
Okay, I'm back.
yeah, the ORR report is
Hang on, I wanna see
is there other data?
hang on, I wanna see.
Sorry, what?
I had to go and talk, but I wanted to see what the, yeah, that right there is what I was wanting to look at, Warhammer World of Darkness, D&D 3.5. Yeah, I knew some people still play 3.5. And I've talked to some people that still play 2nd edition, and that shit came out in the, '80s, you know? So,
Yeah,
you don't have to
yeah,
have the brand new stuff to play.
right.
You can learn these systems, and like I said, if you're having trouble and you're like, "I don't understand this," you don't have to use it, or you can DM me real quick. Just message me, "Hey, Deacon, what does this mean?"
Maybe it's possible that this kind of like uh not the golden age. It's more sort of the uh poopy age of TV and media, where we have terrible TV shows and terrible movies and they're real preachy and stuff. Maybe that's going to push the whole like a whole creative generation like off of TV media altogether, and just people will go back to books and talking to each other in person and playing games in person. You think that's possible?
I hope it makes that, because it's like Jeremy's saying here. WotC's online attempts to streamline the flow of D&D content in a way that makes players dependent on a subscription
Yeah.
service for ease of use. He's exactly right there. He's exactly right. It makes them dependent. One of the things that that they've been kind of joking about on one of the Reddit subreddits is they're doing an AI DM. Okay, think about that. An artificial intelligent dungeon master. And they've been asking, is this really the way to go? And they were like, this shows you that they have no clue what the game is even about if they can do an AI dungeon master, because they've been throwing out scenarios to people. It's like, okay, what if your player does this and does this? What's the AI going to do? Because you can, you can always come up with something. And one of the examples that I was reading about this morning while I was sitting there on the toilet was dude was like, okay, one of my players died and really didn't want to lose his character. What would the AI do? Well, what I did was I decided to make him make a pact with the devil, with a demon, and if he
Yeah.
wanted to say, he would have to make this pact, but he have to do 3 things, over the course of his lifetime that he asked. So he's like, okay. So what they did was they come across this non-player character that they had introduced, that all of the players really loved this non-player character. They're like, oh, we really like this person. Well, the demon said, you got to kill this person.
Yeah.
That's one of your things. So would the AI come up with a really cool, that's the fun things about the playing the game, is the fun spontaneity that comes about, when you're sitting there and I've got my whole plan, my DM sheet, I've got my whole plan of stuff that's supposed to happen. And the player does something that makes me do this right here. You would think this is frustrating, but this is the best thing about D&D. Okay, I've planned 3 weeks. I've got my whole plan right here, and I'm reading it, and the player does something that I have to go,
Oh,
okay, give me a second. Okay, so that's the best part about D&D.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
That's the best part, man. So the AI
It always
is one of the big ones, AI DMs.
I mean,
Some people charge to be a dungeon master. I could charge $20 a game and get a full game. And I could easily make this money. I don't know why I don't do it. I would have to prepare, but I could
So
charge for games.
how long does it take to play a game of
I would
D&D or
if you're
whatever
gonna
or anything?
if I'm gonna pay for a game, a good D&D game is 3-4 hours. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a
But
long time.
it does seem like a lot of time. But once the game is over and you're like, okay, we're just about time here. This is probably a good stopping point. Almost every person is like, for real? It's like you can't
Really?
believe the time went by that quick. If you're having fun with a good DM, if you're not, you're sitting there
Right.
bored to tears. But if you're having a good time with a good DM that knows how to play the game and direct the game, then yeah, it's fun. You always got to keep your players engaged.
Well, I can imagine sitting and like doing something fun for 3 hours. What I can't imagine is finding 3 hours.
That's key. That's why every one of us, all of our old men gaming group, we start at 9 p.m. on Thursday nights. We play until midnight.
Yeah.
My ass gets up at 4:30 on Friday morning. So I sacrifice Friday mornings for my D&D group so I can stay up late. I'm in bed by 9:30 every night, man.
Yeah, right.
So to stay until midnight,
last night,
killing me.
Last night, my wife was like, she went out to go tutor and come back. I took care of all the kids and got them in bed and stuff. And by the time she gets back, and she brought like a handful of groceries. I put all that stuff up. I think I unloaded the dishes or whatever. I just did my little chores around the house. And then she comes upstairs and she gets on her computer because she's got to like type for colleges and like check email and deal with faculty or whatever. And she's doing that. And I'm like, I'm going to go lay in bed and watch Hunters season 2. And I'm watching like I'm watching the middle part of episode 2 because I started it earlier in the day and then stopped and then came back to it. And I'm watching half of it. And about 30 minutes into the show, she's over there talking and she's typing and she's occasionally talking to me. And I'm like, I can't keep this conversation up and I can barely watch the show. So I'm just going to go to sleep. I'm going to go to sleep so that I don't have to be like, I'm listening. And then I didn't listen. I'm tired. And I just went to sleep.
Hey, I got a show I'll recommend to folks out there. This is Deke's TV recommendation of the week. I want to watch that Hunters. You said this and it made me.
It's so good.
No,
Al Pacino.
I keep seeing it pop up and I'm like, I need to watch that. I just finished. You don't have Netflix. I just finished Alice in Borderland on Netflix. The 2 seasons of Alice in Borderland. I think it was a manga comic or what do they call them? It's not sexual.
Anime?
It's like
a
comic.
Is it one of those where they took the comic and they did like a live action of it or something like that?
I think so. I think that's what it is. I'm not sure, but it's freaking good. It was really good. What was the? I didn't watch that one game, that TV show. It wasn't a TV show. It was a TV show, but it was about a game that they would kill you if you lost the game. What was that?
I've seen various iterations of that story.
Squid Game. Remember
Squid Game?
Yeah, the Squid Game.
I remember it being in the news.
Yeah, I never watched that, and everybody loved it and whatnot. I never watched it. This Alice in Borderland is similar. I'm going to say similar. I'm going to be hesitant to use that word similar, but it kind of is. It's really good.
So I see a trailer for it, but I cannot play a Netflix trailer on YouTube because Netflix copyrights everything. Because I don't know, they don't like people talking about their properties.
They don't like free advertisement.
They don't like that kind of stuff. Okay,
it's pretty good.
Oh wow, Empty City, that's neat.
Do what?
It's like the whole city's emptied out, and they're like they're getting stuck in the game.
Yeah, there's games.
Okay.
There's a reason they're playing. They're trying to figure out the reason.
Interesting.
And, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. The second season.
I might check that out.
In the very end, you think it's ended. You're like, oh, okay, this whole story was 2 seasons. And then there's a slight little thing at the end that you're just kind of like, oh, what's that mean? So it's kind of cool.
This kind of reminds me of tiger, neat. Kind of reminds me of a movie or two, but I can't remember the title of the movie right now. But it's this kind of genre where like a bunch of kids are packed onto an island, and they're like, whoever survives can leave. All the kids have to fight each other. I can't remember what that movie's called. Okay. Yeah, no, go watch Hunters, or at least watch some of the first season of Hunters, and then you'll be like, this. I mean, if you like, I don't know, hunting Nazis, and I don't mean like social justice, like poof poof Nazis. I mean like actual Nazis from the Holocaust getting hunted down. It's pretty dope.
I want to hunt
Al
poof
Pacino,
Nazis,
it's great.
though.
Poof poofs Nazis, like the
I
the
wanna
imaginary
hunt them.
social justice, punch a Nazi in the face. But if you punch him too hard, the social justice warrior hand actually breaks. So they have to hit kind of like softly.
Yeah.
Hit punch a Nazi. All right. I guess that's all we got this morning. We made it. We got all the way to the end. And I didn't talk about Biden much.
You did. You like Biden.
I did a little bit. I found a story that I had found, but I'm like, I'm not going back to this.
You would
Maybe I'll cover it tomorrow.
You would hang out with Hunter if y'all would be friends, wouldn't you? He seems like a type of guy.
I'm past my.
See,
I'm
there's
past
the timer.
that.
The timer is going off. That's Hunter right there. That was Hunter right there, wasn't it? He's like, when y'all show up.
Hey man, stop talking about my art. Stop talking about my business deals.
Quit talking about me.
Why you got to bring up my kid with my hooker? What? All right. That's all. Was this the best episode of Your Two Dads on rumble.com/JJW? Is this the best episode ever? It might not have been the best episode ever. That'll be probably tomorrow. So if you haven't already, please hit like, subscribe, come see us tomorrow. Hang out and chat, and come visit us on Discord and hang out.
Yes.
Tell us who should play Mara Jade.
Come hang out with us over here on our Discord server, so me and JJ don't ban everyone in the other Discord.
Oh my God, these retarded kids!
I swear to God. Yesterday, I swear to God, I can't remember all of the freaking commands all the time. I have to usually go back and look and scroll up and look for the commands, and then by that time, what I was wanting to type is freaking meaningless. So
I am just
right click and go down to kick. If somebody's pissed me off, I'm like, fuck you, I'm just kicking you from the server. And if they deserve it, and I can't find the kick anymore, I would have kicked like 3 of those little assholes yesterday.
I try to be so patient. And like I take so much heat and I get so much attacks, and I'm just like, they're being provocative on purpose so that they can go around and so that then they can go around and tell the story of like JJ's evil.
They don't think that we were never fucking little prick kids is what they don't remember. They think that we're some old fucking crappy old cranky old men, and they don't remember that I used to be a little fucking prick kid too, man. I've done all these little shit things that you're doing. JJ and I've already done it.
We already did all of this a long time
ago.
It's super tired.
Yeah, we can see it.
And I understand. I understand that you need to like be outrageous and provocative so that you can stand out among your peers. But like, you talk about my kids, or you cross a certain line.
That's the line.
Like,
that was the line. They can call names and do everything, but there's only a few names and a few topics that you bring up that the fucking line is crossed, and there's consequences. So as a child, you're also going to learn that what you say, there are consequences. Like the little kid that said he was going to hurt himself that one time, and we had to go through the correct protocol.
Hey, I don't have a choice. Like that.
You said
that stuff is
out of our
hands.
hands.
The server at risk, and I don't want to be associated with you.
Yeah, and then they got pissed off at us for doing all this stuff, and you're like, you said it. Your words have consequences. I know this more than anyone in the world. Believe me.
Yeah,
what you say has consequences.
So, But I mean, if the accusation is you old man, I'm usually like, that's probably
JJW. JJW's an asshole. This and there was Zach on there. Freaking, I have that up all the time. I never say anything, but I've got it up. And they're always
like,
they
think I'm not there.
They're like, you're never here, old man. I'm like, I'm here all the time. I'm here every day.
I see stuff. I see everything. I
see it
see everything they
all.
delete.
Yes, I
Yeah.
see everything that you think that you've deleted. I see.
Yeah.
And then I've seen the
Yeah.
Zach dude say, "This is a dead server," like 5 times. So yesterday
Oh,
he
you know
said
what?
that
Here
again.
you go.
This is a dead server. I was like, dude, I've seen you say that 5 times in the past week amidst the thousands and thousands of messages this server gets an hour.
Like nobody's even gonna remember that you were here when you stopped
You
coming.
have to scroll up for 5 minutes
There you go.
to get to the freaking to
This
get
is
past.
this is something most people don't like see, and maybe you don't see that
This is funny. Why
often.
are we
But
talking about the
I have no idea.
this is funny.
But this is our growth and engagement, right? And if I switch this to monthly, and I go back like as far as I can, or go back, here we'll go back as far as we can go to like February 2021, right? This is our growth and engagement. Okay, it's pretty steady or whatever.
Right.
Total membership over time.
We had a little dip there.
Yeah, a little dip around the time that the
That was the
server
hack. That
got.
was the server attack.
Yep, exactly,
Yep,
right.
that was the
So
server attack.
like, oh, the server is dead. Boink.
Because
Oh nope,
a
it's actually
lot of
bigger than
people,
ever.
a lot of people fled the server because people were
Yeah,
getting attacked. Yeah,
yeah,
that was a big deal. When was that? That was a couple of
and
weeks ago.
yeah, that was yeah. So that's like a little bit ago. So yeah, is
Yeah,
if
it's a
you're
dead
talking
server.
about like if you're talking about like servers dead, no, servers like got more members and more steady engagement than like ever. So
I know that's what we were talking about yesterday. It was like we just need to ban each other and leave, and let's just leave the server
yeah,
and give it
I
to
was
somebody
like,
else.
I get so frustrated yesterday. I was like, I don't know who to give this to. I'll just give it to Deacon. Deacon, I'm gonna make this your problem.
And then he messaged me, and I was like, "Fuck, no, I don't want the damn thing." But
Yeah,
but it's just like I
yeah,
said, I was like, it's hard to let go because we've been there since the beginning.
yeah,
You started
yeah.
the damn
And
thing.
you
I've been
know,
there since the beginning.
I mean, I've known people that died. I talked about this the other day. Some of our people were
Yeah.
there and are gone, and
Yeah, some of our people that were our
all of that.
friends and our players that were there and that have passed on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Battle Royale. Thank you, Jordan. There's a movie called Battle Royale. I think it's on Netflix, Deacon. You should check it out. It's probably very similar to your TV show. If you
Yeah,
haven't seen
Jeremy.
it, I think it's all
Yeah.
in Japanese, maybe.
Yeah, Jeremy, that was the
Yeah.
MCLC disc we were talking about.
Battle Royale and Battle Royale 2. I think there's a Battle Royale 2. Good movie.
Yeah,
Super violent.
that Discord
Don't
server's
watch it
got
over
like
kids.
12,000 people.
14.
14, not 100.
14,000.
14,000.
14,000.
And I said 12 because like 2 months ago when I checked it, it was like
Yeah,
12.
it was a couple months ago. It was 12. Now it's 14.
Now it's 14.
But of course it's dead, and it's the like whatever.
And you are the first member. I'm number 3, and we have no clue who number 2 is.
It's probably Phil.
It's not Phil. It's not Phil. I've looked him up. He's like number 1,000 something. So he must have left and come back.
He must have left and come back.
I don't know who's got the number 2 spot. No, I can't think of anybody.
Oh, maybe it's Spider. It could be Spider. He used to be Metalingus or something like that. Now he's Spider.
Oh, I bet you're right.
Yeah, maybe.
Has he been there then?
Let's see. Metal. Let's see. We'll find out. Let's see if it's him. Do I user info?
Why are we still talking about this 10 minutes?
I have no idea.
Shut
We're over time. Hey, this is best episode ever.
We didn't even, right before we went on, JJ was like, I hope you got some stories because I ain't got shit.
Metal's number 4. Spider's
4.
number 4. Mm-hmm.
Number 3. Who's number 2?
I have no idea who number 2 is. No idea. Impossible to know. All right.
It's not Chow.
Discord. Chow's gone, dude.
Yeah.
She left. She didn't even say goodbye.
And that would have moved
me. She ignored me. If you ever talk to her, tell her I said, hey.
Yeah, I talked to her.
Okay. All right. Well, I know she got mad at me, so that happens.
I get mad at people too. But I've been mad at you before too, JJ, but I still love you.
I know. I can wear everybody's hatred and anger.
I can wear everybody down.
Like a shirt. All right.
Tell Hunter that answer Hunter's call and let's go. God almighty, that guy.
Yeah. Hey, bro, I'm out of Coke. I don't have any. Bye, everybody.